Hey, Anel, do you do any other Peloton classes besides the cycling? Yeah, on Saturdays and Sundays, I try to do a 30-minute yoga class after the cycling. Something to up the flexibility a little bit. Try. Listen, my friends without kids be like, "What do you mean try?" Sometimes you think you're gonna do a 30-minute yoga class, and then you hear like a combination of either like crying or bodily fluids coming from the other room, and you go, "You know what? Today's not gonna be the day." Or sometimes you fall asleep late because you hear some crying or bodily fluids in the other room that keeps you awake, and then you go, "You know what? Just to do the ride would be nice enough." How's your last white blood cell holding up? I gotta be honest. I keep throwing everything I got at it. Yesterday I had a immune booster, a multivitamin, and an immune boosting vitamin C beverage, and I feel like I'm hanging on. They're trying. The viruses are trying to get in. They're going, "Hello, hello," and I'm saying, "No, back, demon." Yeah, when Gandalf says, "You shall not pass," that's me to my last white blood cell. My last white blood cell to all the cold and flu viruses trying to enter my body. You shall not pass. Number one top weekly reference on r/daddit. Hey, I started laughing last night because I was introduced to this subreddit, reddit.com/r/stupidfood. I don't know if you're familiar with this. One of the posts got me laughing so hard that I think my wife thought that my brain broke. Let me see if I can get it up here. I don't even know how to describe why it's funny, except to say that this is genuinely, I think it might be the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And I mean that with complete sincerity. I think this might be the most humorous thing I've seen in my entire life. We ordered the $1,000 tomahawk steak from Poppy Steak, okay? And this, if you've never seen this, apparently this is what happens when you order the $1,000 steak from Poppy Steak, okay? You ready for this?
We ordered the $1,000 tomahawk from Poppy Steak.
Hey, 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 hey. Hey! Oh, 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 look at that. Oh, look at that, man. Holy. Anyway, I don't know. There's just something about that post. I must have watched it all the way through like 10 times. It made me laugh to the point of like hysteria, like every single time. It's got to be one of the funniest posts I've ever seen in my life. Can you imagine being the kind of person who orders that and goes like, "This shit is awesome"? I mean, I resent the fact that there are people in chat that are like, "It's not even cooked." I'm like, I mean, you don't need to criticize it. It's obviously horrible. Like everything about it is wrong. The atmosphere, the presentation, the disrespect on a culinary standpoint, obviously like is not even edible. The dude with the cattle brander just ruining the exact center of this expensive cut of meat. But then mostly what I love is the guys like just going, "Hey, hey, 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 hey." It's so fun. Then there's another one. It's from Salt Bay's restaurant. Oh my God. It's almost exactly the same, including the briefcase and everything. But before it comes out, a bunch of like people in fake military gear with like laser scopes and night vision goggles come out and go like they clear the room so that the briefcase can be delivered to the table. Yeah, so I don't know, I spent like 15 minutes last night watching just Salt Bay videos. This shit is so funny. Please show it. No, I've stolen too much intellectual property. It's like it's steak in a briefcase. Okay, already like a little crazy, a little stupid with it. And then when he closes the briefcase and then opens it up and then closes the briefcase and opens it back up, you're like, oh man, it's so good. Now, as long as people get a kick out of it, it's fine. No, actually, it deserves to be mocked more, to be honest with you. It's emblematic of everything that I feel is, well, not everything, but many things that I feel are like culturally wrong. Like if you're gonna be rich, cultivate taste, okay? The greatest, well, I mean, again, not the greatest. One of the greatest sins of wealth is garishness. To have money but no taste, it's like seeing, there's got to be a good metaphor here. Like a fish with a 70-inch vertical. You're not playing basketball down there. Like, can you imagine the kind of people that are like, hey, let's go to Pappy's Steak? I love spending $1,000 on the experience of a bunch of frat boys coming to my table as if it's like my 6th birthday at the Olive Garden. And they go, oh, and they got the gloves on and everything. Oh. Like, can't you just be like an old rich person and like look down your nose at people less fortunate on your way to the opera or something like that? And then when you leave the opera, there's like Joe Chill's like, give me your money. And then Martha Wayne is like trying to show humanity. It's like, please, we could. And then the pearls scattered through the alley, and then the bats, you know what I'm talking about? Anyway, I saw many videos of the gold steak as well. A $100 steak wrapped in $10 gold foil on Amazon, or from Amazon, I should say, served in like a briefcase or like a hollowed out boulder or something like that. Put Gordon back on the screen. Hold on, though. It's not going to be right. There he is. I can only do it when my camera's back in the default position. Because I didn't link Gordon to my... I didn't link him to my camera frame. I didn't think that far ahead. I would love to see Gordon Ramsay go to the Jersey Shore Poppy Steak $1,000 briefcase restaurant, man. Hey, NL, how do you manage pet care in a household with pets? Okay, let me give you a hot tip, okay? It might sound like forehead, but it's not forehead. There's really only 2 things you can do when it comes to dealing with mess. One is clean more. I understand that's the forehead part. The other one is have lower standards. So I would say that I deal with it through a combination of those two techniques. And by the way, I feel like both of them are valid. I feel like it's folly to expect to always have a 100% clean house. Tidy house, sure. But a house that's flawlessly clean at all times, it's not possible. You'll spend the rest of your life trying to maintain it, because as soon as it dips a little bit, then you got to go right back to it. Yeah, the most fruitless task is to fight entropy. That's pretty much exactly what I said. That's what I meant anyway. I'm not as bad as I used to be, but I'm something of a clean nihilist, if that makes sense. I know it sounds like a Super Auto Pets team. I have a certain nihilism about cleaning, which is to say, why would I vacuum today if I could just vacuum tomorrow instead? I know how it sounds. Sometimes you gotta, but tomorrow is going to be dirtier, and in the next day, there will be a need to vacuum as well. So why not just do the vacuuming tomorrow and then save myself one vacuum? Now, it's not 100% infallible, obviously. You got people coming over, or like you're stepping on dirt all the time. Like that, I could understand that being a case, but people are like, just get a cleaning service. But that doesn't, like, it cleans your house, but that doesn't deal with mess. The only way to deal with mess is to make less of it or clean it up as soon as it gets created. Otherwise, like, a cleaning service will clean your house, but then like 6 days later, you're like, what the hell? It's dirty again. You might think that means I live in a pigsty. It's not the case. We actually live in a very clean house. Now, most of that is because my wife cleans a lot, but over the last decade of living together, it's also brought up my standards of cleanliness quite a lot. So I especially, like, I'm just gonna be honest with you. If you're like in your 30s, you haven't cohabitated with a neat person for a long time. If you've been living a bachelor life and you're in your like mid 30s as a man, you're not like a neat freak by your own creation, it's probably too late for you. I don't think you could make it back. You ever seen like a 50-year-old lifelong bachelor's house? There's no hope. The amount of remedial work that they have to go through in order to just reach a standard of acceptability, they're too far gone. That's why they're like, I'm not gonna get married ever. I'm in this picture and I don't like it. He's sandbagging the desk on it. Well, like, my desk is a little messy, I'm not gonna lie. At the same time, I've also been like double duty, like work, family sick, doing 100% of the baby stuff post like 9 a.m. Like I've been really waking up 1 to 4 times every night. Like last night it was about midnight. Baby went to bed at like 9:15 or something like that. Around midnight, put my head on the pillow. Baby starts crying. I go in. Daddy, I want a hug. Daddy, I want a hug. I go in. I pick her up out of the crib. She falls asleep on my shoulder. Very cute moment until you're in it. And then like a minute later, I'm like, oh, what the hell am I going to do? Because if I put her down in the crib, she's going to start to cry. I can't hold her for 8 hours. That's idiocy. That's like some God of War. Being a good dad is holding your child for 8 hours straight and getting no sleep, sort of like machismo, like sensitive machismo. Anyway, I put her down in the crib and then I held her hand for like 20 minutes until she fell asleep. You truly can use your kid as an excuse to weasel your way out of everything? Yeah, like here, okay, Gen Z, millennials, if you're watching this, you're probably not. I appeal mostly to the boomer and the silent generation crowd. Right now, you use the economy and Jeff Bezos doesn't pay his taxes. That's an excuse for everything. Why even bother? The climate crisis is going to come and drown us all. Just have a kid. And then you've got 2 excuses that you can use for everything. It's a natural progression. When you're born, I don't need to do anything. I'm a little kid. Then you're like, in college maybe. I don't need to do anything. I'm a student. Then I don't need to do anything. What's the point of doing anything? Climate nihilism. Then I have a child. Then you're old. Or maybe before you get old, you're like, I worked my whole life. I don't have to do the dishes now. Then you turn about, 60, 65. And then you're like, I'm too old to do anything. And then you fucking die. That's how you get out of everything for your whole life, okay? There you go. Dude, when I was on r/stupidfood last night, like, don't even get me started. Why are the stupidest foods on the planet? And I'm not saying they're stupid, like, in abstract. I mean, like, in practice. We were talking about the $1,000 steak served in a Quentin Tarantino briefcase where, like, one of Donald Trump's sons smashes it with a hot branding iron and just completely ruins the meat. And then they go, oh! Anyway, why are the stupid... I have a theory, which is that the stupidest foods are actually from a result of the pickiest eaters. I know that people are probably not going to be stoked about that. I know they're probably not going to love that I'm saying it. But the 2 most common stupid foods I see on the internet are steaks and burgers, where instead of making like a good meal, they're like, what if we just like fucked with a steak or made like an insane hamburger? That's my hypothesis. Would love to know your thoughts, unless you're a picky eater, in which case I'm like Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive. I don't care. I'm a picky eater. At first I was like, what the hell? And now I agree. Wait, but are you just saying that because it's like the Squeaks impression of me, okay? I think you're just saying it because it's the Squeaks impression. I resent it. I mean, there's stupid foods that are not burgers. Like all the fake TikTok ones that are just designed to make you angry, or alternatively be like insane fetish videos, apparently. I didn't realize that. The one where the lady puts like the uncooked spaghetti through the hot dogs. And I love the dude's like reacting to it, but he's just crying in his car. Put the uncooked manicotti in the dish. Slice the cheddar cheese with a pair of kitchen shears. Like it's... Pop that right in the oven. Pop you right in the mouth. It's a classic. I've never seen cotton candy in the toilet, but I have seen cotton candy made in the washing machine. It said, an easy way to make cotton candy. And then the lady poured like a bunch of sugar into her washing machine and then poured like a soda into where you put the liquid detergent and then put aluminum foil. Sorry, the dryer, not the washer. No, but it was the washer because she put the liquid soap in the liquid soap holder. And then she put aluminum foil on the lint trap, and then it was like, fast forward 20 minutes. And then she pulls the lint trap out, and there's a bunch of like blue cotton candy in the lint trap. And I'm like, do we deserve destruction? I'm saving. Why is there a lint trap in the washer? Wait a minute, that's a great point. What? Okay, so what did you... Maybe there's some... On some dryers, maybe there's a compartment you can pour, like, a fabric softener into. That makes... Okay, yeah, she probably put it on the... She probably put it in the fabric softener hole. My mistake. Anyway, again, this is all beside the point, just for the record. The point is, don't do that. It's not the device that was the wrongness, okay? Well, I mean, it is. But it's not, like, that specific about what type of laundry machinical it is or whatever. Thoughts on food challenges, like the 72-ounce steak? I honestly, I don't have a theory about this. But I do want to know... Is there some... Not sinister. I'm not saying there's something sinister. Is there something going on with the proliferation of people that can eat an insane amount of food? And I don't mean like a big meal. I mean like Kinoshita Yuka, you know, eating like literally 400 chicken nuggets in a single sitting and the whole time being like, wow, it's so tasty. You can really taste the earthiness of the chicken nuggets. Like, I know that she apparently has some sort of like an anatomical anomaly. Like, she's got a larger than average stomach cavity or something like that. But, like, there's actually, like, at least 25 Korean and Japanese women on YouTube that are like, check it out. This is me eating 750 pieces of sushi. And I know that because when my wife finished all the Kinoshita Yuka videos, she went straight to some that were from Korea instead. What's interesting about watching somebody eat? Listen, here's the thing. I don't know, but this is a real, like, glass houses sort of moment. It's not my cup of tea, but at the same time, a lot of people will say the same thing about what you're watching right now. So I think you know, it's not a battle I'm interested in fighting. I guess the super wholesome, non-dismissive answer is people are, like, interested in... People like to watch things that interest them. And maybe that sounds forehead. But, like, if you're into working out, then you're like, you know what I'd like to do right now? I'd like to watch a video of somebody, like, at the gym. You're not even doing the accent? No, I realize, honestly, I think there's, like, it's almost like an SCP. The accent is too powerful. It was, like, stuck in my head all day. Yesterday, even while I was driving. So I realized that, like, what I have to do is actually just stop it. In order to preserve my own sanity. Crumb of the accent. It's how it goes, man. Yesterday, everyone hated it. Please stop. Please stop. Today, everyone's like, you know what? Anybody else kind of miss it? And everybody else is like, yes. Yes, I do. I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. You know what that chord was? Might blow your mind. It's just a C major 7th. Turns out that the Lord... kind of basic with it, kind of like an Ed Sheeran fan. +2. Is C major 7th a chord? All I know about music is, I mean, I couldn't define it, but I know it when I hear it. Yes, that is a chord. Okay. I did watch the first episode, or half of the first episode of The Mole on Netflix last night, by the way. I wouldn't recommend yet going and watching the show, but it's good. I was reasonably entertained. But halfway through the episode, there's a pro gamer on it. I swear to you, she said, is anyone sus of the guy's name? And I was like, have we now entered the point where sus has... It genuinely is just in the vocabulary now. I guess it was kind of like in the vocabulary to become within the parlance of gamers to begin with, but... Like, it's there now. Nobody was like, what does sus mean? Everybody was... And then she did say, it is hard to think that there is an imposter among us right now. And I was like, you... Or she said, like, the mole is among us as we speak. And I was like, you think I don't see what you're doing there? You...
Like, how's that look?
Are you Sasabose?
I have been since day one. Yeah.
The mole is definitely up to something.
This don't make no sense.
Hey, I need to do some more damage. Need some more damage. Hey, can you just real quick... Hey, just one more thing. Could you check on my Caesar salad? We've been waiting almost a half hour. Are you growing the lettuce back there? That's it. Just the one time. Just the one time. I normally watch your videos on ×2 speed, so you sound very slow right now. Can somebody queue up Walter Shocked? Gen Z's reaction when they find out you can't ×2 speed talking to your spouse. Hank! Hank! I'm getting a lot of +2s on that one. Holy. Do you regret not going to TwitchCon this year? Well, the answer is no, but everybody's gonna say that it's because of, like, you know, the, like, ball pit or whatever. But the truth of the matter is just that, like, traveling to conventions, it's a young person's game. Especially, like, spending your own money to be away from home, and, like, inconvenienced, I guess. I don't know how to phrase it nicely, but, like... This is not an anti-TwitchCon thing. I've been to TwitchCon twice, and I had fun both times. But one time, I was paid to go, or at least my expenses were covered, and I did a meet and greet, and was like, you know what? That was a sensible deal that we had going on there. The other time, I paid my expenses to go, and when I was at the convention, I was just walking around, kind of like being recognized, and I was like, why did I pay $2,000 to go here? It doesn't make any sense. I could have been taking just a walk in my city right now. I could have just been enjoying like a nice brunch, not worrying about airports and hotels and stuff like that. It doesn't make any sense. $2,000? Well, yeah, you know, you got the passes, you got the hotel for 3 or 4 days, you got the 2 flights, meals when you're out. Why not do sponsorships to cover the expenses? I don't even know how to answer that question. You want the real answer? Because you can spend money on anything. Why not spend it on something you actually want to do? Oh, I got some salary. Might as well waste it. Like, what are you even talking about? I don't even understand. The question is from a place of like a false premise. Why do you hate your fans? No, see, you got it backwards. You're letting them divide us when you should be letting them unite us. I just think, like, for me, the best deal is if somebody else pays for me to go to TwitchCon. Maybe the company that is using my appearance at TwitchCon to get other people to go to the convention could foot the bill for me to come to TwitchCon. Although I think, I'm not even blaming Twitch. I think this year, probably what happened is I got an email that was like, hey, you thinking about going to TwitchCon this year? And in my head, I said, probably not. I have a child. And then in reality, what happened is I just never replied. So this is not actually like a knock on the company itself. Also, the other thing is, like, I kind of don't want to go to TwitchCon. And again, this is like, is not meant to be judgmental, but it seems like a big reason that a lot of content creators go to TwitchCon is to IRL stream at TwitchCon. And I don't want to just be surrounded by, like, IRL streamers farming content. I'm not saying that they should change TwitchCon to ban IRL streaming at all. I understand the website. It's more like, you know, I just recognize that it's not for me. But no, and the other thing is, it's not TwitchCon. Like, I don't regret having not gone to PAX for a few years. Will I ever go back to PAX again? Yeah, probably, but it might be for a bit. You workshop in a PAX bit? No, not at all. It's just like, convention is like a young person's game. Or like if you're into it. But I've always, like, the convention has always been the worst part of conventions for me. The best part has been that, like, other people that you know but don't live in your rough geographic area will go to the convention, and then you go like, whoa, I haven't seen you in a while. And then you go, like, you know, get drunk outside of the convention instead. Do you read every sponsorship offer? We sent you one about a roguelite. Salt Key and Ackfish, you sent me one? You're a known... Don't take this the wrong... Well, no, do take this the wrong way. You're a known entity in my mind. You work in the industry? I think I personally have timed you out at least one time. Or did you get like a bunch of chatters together to do it? Please audit them? Well, I'm just confused. Oh, I was copy and pasting something a dev said in chat. Okay, see, all right. Now everything's, you know, business as usual. Now I understand. Well, I'm not gonna audit the dev. What the hell is wrong with you? I mean, the honest, like, now we're talking about inside baseball. It's my fault for getting to this point to begin with. But, like, David reads every sponsorship deal that comes in, but I just say no to, like, actually 75 to 90% of them, depending. And the big thing is not really so much like, well, I mean, the big thing is the game, but the other big thing is that I only work like 25 hours a week on Twitch. So sometimes people are like, you know, can we get 2-hour streams? And I'm like, no. That's like, it's like 20% of my work week, man. That's like a lot. What's your backup plan if streaming falls off? Become one of those guys who like goes on podcasts and says he doesn't, the job of a comedian is to tell the truth, and if people don't like it, they can leave. What happened to the country? We used to be a proper country, now we've gone soft. I'm launching a new brand of hot dogs or something like that, like Patriot dogs, something like that. I think he'd make a great radio host. I think the radio industry is on the come up. I think it's definitely an industry I'd love to get involved in right now. It seems like the economic prospects of radio have never been better. You should narrate audiobooks. It just seems like a lot of work. Like, it's kind of amazing. When you listen to an audiobook, you're like, oh, it's just a guy reading. But then when you think about recording it, like, think about all the times you stutter or you get the cadence wrong. You mispronounce a word or something like that. I've heard that you can roughly budget 2x the duration of what you're reading as the amount of time required to get like good takes on it, which is crazy. Because I've got an audiobook of Maggie Gyllenhaal reading Anna Karenina. That shit is like 155,000 hours long. Where'd she find the time, man? She was in the Batman movie. That's a long-ass book. How much did Maggie Gyllenhaal get paid to do the audiobook for Anna Karenina? She played Rachel in The Dark Knight. Like, she's set for life, dude. Although I will say, I always have aspired to read more books, but have never, like, done it because it's a hard habit to stick with. Like, when you're doing it, you're like, this is easy. Then you don't do it for like a week. You're like, oh, I got a little busy. Then you just find yourself having not read a book in like a year and a half. So reading audiobooks out loud would be a great way to actually just read more books. Here's my impression of somebody whose job is reading audiobooks for a living. And it's great because I love to read, so it's like I'm getting paid to do my hobby. Okay, I'm going to answer this question, but you're not going to like the answer. What's the proper age to write your memoirs? The proper age to write your memoirs, in my personal opinion, is never. I like biographies, but I don't like autobiographies. I find it like it's kind of an exercise in narcissism. Like a biography that a historian writes about your life after you're dead is cool, but like an autobiography written by a Silicon Valley CEO of a company that allows you to like order a grilled cheese to your door for $75 a sandwich, I just don't care. I'm sure there's some that are good, but I just want, you know, and you know what, like a collection of short stories about your life, sure. But an autobiography about like, here's the thing that made me successful in business, I don't care. Also, here's a hot take for you. That is like the least hot take of all time. Why is the substrate so freaking thick, man? If you write a book, you should be the person who reads the audiobook. I don't care if your voice is like all squeaky and unconfident and messed up. The author should always read the audiobook, man. -2. The author should always read the audio. I'm saying it louder until more people agree with me. What if they're dead? Then I don't want to read your book, okay? Because I only read books from people that are built different. That's like the writer acting in a movie. Well, I don't know, it's all... Penguin Audiobooks presents Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, as read by Rob Lowe. Like, that's not what I want. Get fucking... At least get somebody Roman to read it. Let's get somebody from Italy to read it or something like that. Always Meditations. Well, it's like 70 pages long. It's a really easy book to get. It's honestly a breezy read. They should read it in like middle school, dude. Weren't you listening to Anna Karenina by Maggie Gyllenhaal? Yeah, and I would have listened to the whole thing if it was read by Leo Tolstoy. Instead, I was like, what the hell is even going on? I'm 114 pages in, and there's like, it's just a lady's taking a train ride with like an unwed duke or something like that. Like, it just never ends. Do you remember the first line of Anna Karenina? Nope. Something about like, Bruce, I know that you want to save Harvey, but please come and save me instead. Harvey's already in trouble. He's got acid all over his face because like that barrel tipped over. Look forward to seeing you soon, Bruce. Something like that. Call Me Anna. Yes, I remember Call Me Anna. You read Crime and Punishment? Listen, I read one novella contained within the Brothers Karamazov, or is it that the Brothers Karamazov is a novella contained within Crime and Punishment or War and Peace? I can't remember. And I've read Notes from Underground, and especially Notes from Underground I found to be a colossal exercise in wasting time. I thought it was, honestly, Dostoevsky, if you're listening, like just mute for a second, I thought it was complete dog shit. I'm not putting on airs. Maybe I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. But I'm like the angriest guy I know, and even when I was reading Notes from Underground, I was like, fucking chill, dude. Every single problem in this novel is like of your own creation. He goes out for dinner with a bunch of his friends, has too much vodka, and starts going like, you fucking suck, you fat piece of shit. You fucking asshole, you dickhead, you piece of garbage. And everyone's like, who invited this dickhead? And he's like, society yet again rebukes me when my true nature is shown. Guess I'll just dig a hole and go fucking live in it like a rat. And everyone's like, bro, nobody cares. Nobody cares at all. You're the one who came here. You invited yourself, and then you started making it all about you. Oh, the world has turned its back on me once more. Fucking chill out, dude. He's so crazy. That's the point. Well, then I don't like the point. It's kind of like, I don't want to go off on a rant here, but does anybody else think that Notes from Underground was... does anybody else think that Uncut Gems was the Safdie brothers trying to make Notes from Underground for millennials? The gems are uncut, Fyodor. So true, so true. No, listen, if you like Notes from Underground, you're too smart to respond to that criticism with something like, oh, you should only read books where everyone's happy. Like, that's obviously not what I mean. Or maybe I was right the whole time, and people who like the novel are just trying to pretend to be smart. I don't know. Would love your thoughts on this. Don't say +2, by the way. Maybe you have a hard time empathizing with POVs that are different from yours. Sanest book reader of all time. You didn't like something? Maybe there's something fundamentally wrong with your empathy muscle. Me, an empath, the lead character in Notes from Underground is struggling right now. It's so beneath you if you're like an erudite book reader, because that's the thing that people do with like the Transformers movies. You didn't like Transformers movies? Oh, well, like, what's your favorite movie? Oh, something by Wes Anderson? Here's my impression of a Wes Anderson movie. We all know that General Custer died in the Battle of Little Bighorn. But what this book presupposes is, what if he didn't? Owen Wilson directly center of the frame, flanking him, completely symmetrical, 2 filing cabinets that stretch from floor to ceiling. And it's like it's filmed in the Palace of Versailles. The ceilings are 35 feet tall, and the walls are a light pink. And they're playing Ruby Tuesday by the Rolling Stones on a harpsichord in the background. You don't like Transformers movies? Okay, well then, it's not the way we should respond to criticism, okay? It's like Jack Black in Anchorman. You killed something that I love, so now I'm gonna kill something that you love. Oh yeah, this is happening. What are you talking about? Dostoevsky. I'm talking about Dostoevsky. Cool, I love Dostoevsky. You should leave then, because you're not gonna like what I'm hearing. You're gonna say some insane, offensive shit. Like, yeah, like I want to hear Dostoevsky takes from somebody who can't appreciate Charlie Kaufman's magnum opus, so I'm thinking of ending things. Listen, I appreciate that I love Jesse Plemons in everything that he does. I appreciate that David Toulouse and Toni Collette are like little freaks in that freaky movie. I also appreciate that the fucking thing was 3.5 hours too long, and it only had a 145-minute long runtime. So you do the fucking math. I think, honestly, if you're asking me, would Dostoevsky love Transformers? I'm gonna have to say safe bet on that one. Safe bet. Oftentimes, great artists love horrible media, which I find very endearing. Classic example, of course. You already know where I'm going with this one. Brian Wilson saying that his favorite film of all time is Norbit. Also, Brian Wilson calling Norbit not a movie but a picture is so funny. Little known fact, Brian Wilson actually wrote the song Wouldn't It Be Nice about Norbit. And what would be nice? in his opinion, is if he could see Norbit more often. That was when he says God only knows where I'd be without you. He's saying God only knows where his enjoyment of the cinema industry would be without the movie Norbit. Sloop John B is about the clumps. Come on the sloop John B with Hercules. Something, and take all of my corn. Let me go. It's about the John B. Sorry. We don't swear in front of our daughter. I will say though, my dad swore a little bit in front of my daughter. I might just be dead. Never mind. My dad swore a little bit in front of my daughter, and my mom got so mad at him. And I was like, it's really not a big deal. I was just laughing. Because I would be like driving back from daycare. She's in the car seat, like behind us. She's listening to Under the Sea. She doesn't fully understand what's going on. My dad would be like, look at this shithead driving. My mom's like, stop it. I was laughing it up, man. Hey, did I tell you how I unpsycho-pilled myself when it comes to driving? Here's one tip that may surprise you. Have some patience, and remember that it really, like any delay that you have in driving, probably going to be what? You're going to get home like less than 10 minutes later. Just anytime like somebody cuts me off now, instead of being like, oh, learn how to operate at a four-way stop, it's very simple. Instead, I'm like, why am I so mad? I'm going to get home at the normal time. The only question is like whether or not I'm going to get home at the normal time and be happy and relaxed, or I'm going to get home at the normal time and be like annoyed and ticked off. Look, you got to keep yourself honest is really what I'm trying to say. People who slow cruise in the passing lane should have their licenses revoked though. Listen, okay? Only a Sith deals in absolutes. Because I deal with this shit in Washington all the time. People are always like, in Washington, it's illegal to be in the left unless you're passing, okay? Here's the fucking problem, Washington. You have highway entrances and exits literally like every 200 meters. So I'm driving in bumper-to-bumper traffic in the right lane. People are going by me doing 30 miles an hour over the speed limit. And then 17 cars in a packed merge lane are also trying to merge at highway speed, okay? So then I move to the left so that one car coming on through the fucking on-ramp can make it into the right lane. But then, in order to not be breaking the law, I gotta move back into the right lane, but no one will let me back into the right lane. It's driving me crazy. I move to the left to let someone in, then I need to move back to the right in order to not be breaking the law and have people. And I'm driving in Washington, so I'm being like judged more harshly because I have a foreign license plate too. So that, you know what usually happens is I end up driving like with the flow of traffic in the left lane. So, you know, it's supposed to 70 mile an hour speed limit. I'm doing like 83 or something like that with white knuckles in the middle of a driving Washington monsoon, getting people that going into the right lane to pass me, shaking their fists. Then like 10 minutes down the road, I see their cars exploded. It flipped over 25 times. I know I've said this before, like every time I've been on the I-5, I've always felt like I'm 100 years old because I'm only driving 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. I get passed by people where I'm like, you shouldn't drive like that. And then 20 minutes later, we're in bumper-to-bumper stalled traffic, and then we see that that person was so selfish they fucking died. They're so bad at driving, and they think they're the main character. They died on the interstate and ruined everybody's day. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. Now do you understand Notes from Underground? Okay, a little bit. A little bit. It's not like I'm happy they died. You're taking that like out of context. It's not fair. In fact, I'm pissed off that they died because their dying was a consequence of them driving like a dickhead in the first place. If they just drove like not a piece of garbage, then they would be alive and happy at their destination, and so would I. You see how many... I'm getting a lot of +2s from people that are like, I'm from Washington and this is so true. Listen, is this how we mend fences with Bellingham? You can still make fun of Canadian drivers. Lord knows I do too. As long as you also make fun of Washington drivers, okay? Here's my impression of a Mount Vernon driver at a four-way stop when they're the only other person at the stop and they got there 5 seconds before you. But also, their windows are illegally tinted to the point where you can't even see their hand. Just go. You were there first. Just go. Chat, I'm still here. I would never ban a dev, okay? Whether they're a real dev or a fake dev, I would never. Ban for expressing an opinion? Yes. Do you want to join them? Says you. Tyrant arc? Here's the thing. George W. Bush had a lot of gaffes in office, but he was right when he said a dictatorship would be pretty sweet if I was the dictator. But only if he's not talking about himself. If he's talking about me as the dictator, then yeah. So true, so true. He said that? Yeah. He like kind of wasn't. We'll lead us to kings. We'll freaking lead us to kings. Our first decree. No more rich people and poor people. From now on, there will just be, alright, we gotta think about this one. Will lead us to kings. Will really lead us to kings. What would the national anthem be? This is a reference to City Hall by Tenacious D. Coming up next, a cut from their new album, Tenacious D, Take Us Away. Outer edges more likely to spawn triangles. Okay. Game FAQs, Microsoft MVP Dome Keeper has arrived. Let's see. There's some water. Oh, my savior! I got an achievement. What, the greatest one guy in history? I saw a Spanx store at the Milwaukee airport. Here's my impression of Josh's great aunt. Yeah, they got a Spanx. Have you been to Milwaukee? They got a Spanx store in the airport. So I don't even know what the accent is. Yeah, Milwaukee. You ever been to the city? You ever been to the city? They got a Spanx store right in the airport. Right in the airport. They got a Spanx store right in the terminal. What is the bit? Yeah, nobody really knows. Nobody talks like that. Yeah, but it's fun to imagine that they do. They got a Spanx store right in the airport there. All that for a little bit of money. I mean, it's no PGH, but yeah, MSP, I would say it's a pretty good airport. They used to have a rock bottom. We could use jetpack speed, honestly. I also want an electrified sword, though. A little electrified sword. Get your sword a little bit of amperage there. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I forgor. I forgor. I forgor. He forgor? Jerry, he forgor. Why nobody should be using the thumbs up emoji in 2022? Gen Zers say they feel attacked whenever they see a passive-aggressive thumbs up emoji. According to a recent poll of 2,000 young people aged 16 to 29. I thought they said young people. 29? What are you talking about? Are you 80 years old? Hey, young man. I have a gray beard. What do you mean, young man? Emojis used by old people include the thumbs up, the red love heart, the okay hand, and the grimacing face. Holy cow. I use a few of those. I never use the red heart for love. I do associate that with the elderly. But the grimace, I use grimace all the time. Because sometimes people text me stuff that I don't want to do. And then I say, oh, I'm really busy right now. And I put the grimace emoji in there. What about KEKW? I use KEKW a lot. Gen Zers say they feel attacked whenever they see a passive-aggressive thumbs-up emoji. A 24-year-old on Reddit summed up the Gen Z argument, saying it is best never used in any situation as it is hurtful. Well, if an anonymous 24-year-old on Reddit says that the thumbs-up is hurtful in all situations, I guess I'll stop using it. Others agreed. It's bad form, especially at work. My last workplace had a WhatsApp chat. Oh, sorry, I'm old. A WhatsApp chat to send info to each other, and most of the people on there just replied with a thumbs up. I don't know why, but it seemed a little bit hostile to me. We polled 2,000 of the dumbest people on planet Earth that just happened to be young. Here's the insane shit rattling around between their ears. Let's read this. 10 emojis that make you look old. It's from the reputable website, the Daily Mail. Number 1, thumbs up. Number 2, the red love heart. Number 3, the okay hand. Number 4, tick, which I'm assuming is British for the question mark. Number 5, the poo emoji. Number 6, loudly crying face, also known as joy. Number 7, monkey eye cover. Number 8, clapping hands. Number 9, lipstick kiss mark. And number 10, grimacing face. Those are all bad emojis. Can I show you? Well, I'm not going to show you. Here's my emoji keyboard sorted by recent, okay? 1 second. I got to figure out how to get there. You know what's really annoying lately? You get like spam text messages, but Google, or I guess Android, is like, hey, you've got a new text message. You can't find it because they auto-sort it into spam. Well, then don't tell me I got a new message. Alert, beep, boop, boop, boop. You got a new text message. Don't worry, we know it's spam. Okay, don't alert me. Sergey Brin? Hold on. Okay, my text messages with my mom. Sort by emojis. Number 1 most used emoji, thumbs up. Number 2, crying, laughing. Number 3, guy smiling with a sweat drop. Number 4, eyes. I love using the eyes emoji. Number 6, hands clasped in prayer. Number 7, eyes rolling. Number 8, I think I messed up my numbers here somewhere. Number 8, flex. Number 9, man cycling. It's not a joke. Number 10, a different version of the joy emoji. Number 11, ZZZ, 3 Z's, indicating sleep or a tired state of mind. Number 13, thinking. Number 14, default smile. Number 15, man, that detective looking through a magnifying glass. I don't use emojis that often. That could have been from like 2 years ago. Followed by middle finger, followed by man holding. I honestly, I need my screen up for this one, if you'll allow me. Man holding his arm up like this. I don't even know what this emoji is, but I guess I used it once. I don't know what it is. Man serving invisible food? Yeah, what is that? That is called person tipping hand. I don't know where I use that. That's you use that when you're serving. And serving is when you deliberately dress like a hottie. In Swedish, it's called Swedish informative person. It's not like in English the emojis make any sense. Am I the asshole for dropping my sister's kids at the child-free wedding that she was at? I'm going to guess that it's probably a no, because it says not the asshole. But this always starts with like, am I the asshole for violating a tenant that somebody asked me to follow? And then you're like, yes. And then later they're like, my sister is addicted to crack cocaine and left her kids with me for 17 days straight. And you're like, okay, you know what? Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Do you see the tweet that was like, people will write posts that are like, am I the asshole for poisoning my spouse? And then when you read it, you're like, no, you're not the asshole. But then if somebody makes a post that's like, am I the asshole for cooking my wife her favorite dinner? You know you're about to read some serial killer shit. It's actually true. If you ever see an am I the asshole post that's like, am I the asshole for doing an incredibly nice thing? You know you're about to see something written from the perspective of Jeffrey Dahmer. There's nobody. Nobody disagrees with this. Come on, get me into some spiciness, man. I don't sort by controversial. That's how you end up. So here's my impression of somebody in the controversial, most controversial post in every Am I the Asshole thread not related to public health. Something, the vaccines. Can you add like a sane filter to controversial as well? That would be nice. Am I the asshole for making my son walk the wall? Hold on. Hold on. Am I the asshole for using a spray bottle to train my nephew? Hold on. Hold on. Before I get started here, this is a genuine question. The first sentence, my nephew is a rainbow baby. I need to inform myself. At first I thought a rainbow baby was one of those kids that the parents are convinced they have psychic powers, but I think that means that's an indigo child. It's two different things. Okay. It's a baby born after a complication from a previous pregnancy. Okay. Well, I'm glad I looked it up. But they could also have psychic powers. I don't know how that's relevant to using a spray bottle to train them, but anyway, let's see. And he thinks any food is his. My husband is diabetic and he loves cookies. I found a bakery that makes amazing sugar-free cookies, but they are expensive. I budget for them because my husband deserves his treats when he gets home from work. I'm sorry to tell you that your husband does not matter anymore. Give the kid the cookies. He'll understand. If he comes home and you're like, sorry, I fed the 6-year-old the sugar-free cookies just to calm him down, he would be like a little disappointed, but he'd be like, you know what? I get it. What else is new? I think. Unless her husband is a dog, in which case he might be inconsolable. Let's see. My sister was visiting and my nephew was running around like a squirrel. He tripped and... Also, can you just, hide them or something? I don't understand. Is the kid, 7 feet tall? Why don't you just put him in, a overhead cabin or something, man? I don't know. I don't get it. My sister asked if he could please have a cookie. Okay, bad parenting. In my opinion, bad parenting. It's a little micro example, but if you're in somebody else's house and they say they can't have my property, and then the parent should respect that and not be like, no, please give it to them. He wasted the last one. He started screaming that he wanted a cookie. I stood my ground. He eventually went away. You're a better parent than the actual mom. I'm sorry to tell you. At least in this micro example, you look like a better example. You look like a better parent than the actual mom here. Next time he came, he didn't ask. He just went for the container. I grabbed the spray bottle I used to keep the cat off the counter. I gave him a couple of squirts and said no. He got startled and ran away. My sister said her son isn't an animal to be reprimanded with water. The next time he came into my kitchen, I put my hand on the spray bottle. He didn't even look at the counter and went away. My sister called my parents to tell on me. Wait, aren't you in your 40s? To tell on me for treating her kid like that. They are mad at me for not giving in to her poor baby. I'm just going to be honest. It's not the asshole and also hilarious. If you and your kid are in somebody else's house, the person whose house it is gets to be the good cop, and you as the parent has to be the bad cop. You can't be a parent and child united against the host to get what you want. You have to be you have to say, no, my kid can't have a cookie. And then if the host is like, well, he can have one cookie, then you're like, okay, but make sure to say thank you, Aunt Vivian. Good. Just the first aunt name that popped into my head, because I grew up watching The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air at least a little bit. And that's the way the cycle goes around. Now you got cool aunts. You've established boundaries as a parent. The kid understands that, they don't just get a choice. They don't get complete control of what they're doing in all situations. And then it goes around and around and around. If the parent is unwilling to do that and you force the aunt to be the mom, well, then she gets to choose the discipline within reason. Listen, people will say they're just a kid, and that's true, but 6 is old enough to understand that actions have consequences. I wouldn't expect a 6-year-old to be like, oh, I don't want to eat candy because long term it might contribute to insulin sensitivity. I don't expect them to have that kind of long term planning. But someone told me not to eat a cookie, I'm going to go eat it, then sure. Give him a little spray with the spray bottle. Why not? And plus, apparently it worked. Honestly, the only thing I want to criticize the aunt for in this situation is that I feel like most 6-year-olds would just power through. If they got sprayed in the face with a little bit of water, they'd be like, okay, my face gets wet and I get unlimited cookies. That's a sweet trade. but it worked, so I'm not gonna be a hater. I'm surprised that the punishment was that effective. You know, Reddit's gonna call her an asshole. I don't know. It's tough because the stereotype on Reddit is that they hate women, but they also hate kids, and I think they might hate kids more than they hate women. And and again, this sounds like out of context. This sounds bad. I think on Reddit, people like women when they're being like good parents and family members. They hate women when they stop their partner from doing something that he wants to do. Am I the asshole for punching a hole in my wall after my girlfriend said she doesn't want me to ride a motorcycle without my helmet on? That's always like, it's your house. Where does she think she can get off using you for your refrigerator and your sweet Dolby setup and then tell you how to live your life? You better kick her to the curb and make sure you film the whole thing so she doesn't try to accuse you of something, you know? I think if it was like, am I the asshole for telling my nephew he's a little fricker? They would be like, no, kids suck, you're based. Let's see. I mean, not the asshole, obviously. Does the spray bottle work on your sister? I cackled. I can't read this, man. I'm sorry. I can't read your comment if it starts with I literally cackled. Let's do it. I legitimately cackled because my ADHD brain would immediately go, listen, I don't know what else to do, but there's a squirt bottle in my current perception and it works on pets. That's fair. I totally get it. So let's break this down before some weirdo comes in and tries to make you feel guilty. No, I want the weirdo to come in. I want to read the weirdo. Your husband has specific needs that can get pricey. As a person who has dietary limitations and who lives with others who do as well, I know how unfair the celiac and diabetic tax is on a budget-strained house. This kid's going to get hit so hard by the world. I'm going to kick that son of a bitch bison's ass so hard that the next bison wannabe is going to feel it. I'm going to kick that son of a bitch bison's ass so hard. The next bison wannabe is going to feel it. This kid is going to get hit so hard by the world, and I legitimately bet this is the first time anyone said this, so I have two things for you. A golden not the asshole that I will vigorously and aggressively defend, and advice. If your sister can't get her kid to understand your house has rules for a reason, and that you're unable to afford financially or from a stress perspective her excessive spoiling of that kid, simply ban them from coming over. You have every right to protect your home, your sanity, and quite frankly, I hope it right pisses her off if you do it, so she's forced to realize the way she's raising or not raising her child harms others. Actually, a very sensible comment until it always takes a Reddit swerve at the end, which is we have a minor disagreement in a situation that in a week we'll all laugh about. Cut him off. Never see him again. Issue a psychotic ultimatum as soon as possible. I regret that I have only the one update to give. Same. Not the asshole. Yeah, not the asshole. Okay, I mean, this is fair. We're starting to get into it a little bit here. Am I the asshole for making my son walk the dog? Asshole. This should be good. Throwaway account and fake names because my wife is also on Reddit. Brother, if you don't want your wife to find your Am I the Asshole post, you should make up a fake story. What kind of person is going to read a story that echoes their real life, one for one, and then be like, well, the names are changed, though. This can't be... This exact thing happened to me, and all of our children are exactly the same age, and yet the names are different. You know what? I think you're right. The best comments are not the ones that are like, you're the asshole. There's never an excuse to spray a 6-year-old with a spray bottle. The best comments are the ones that are like, not the asshole, and also you didn't go far enough. Your sister should be in prison for child neglect. My uncle would never have let me get away with that when I was 6, except he couldn't because he died saving me from the train tracks and so on and such as and the gym and the pigs. When I was a kid, I always wanted a dog, but my parents said no. I never got the chance to get one during my 20s, but recently my interest in owning one was sparked again. Alex and Jake were excited to get one, but Dylan's immediately opposed to this idea. You're 42 years old. Why are you writing like this? I'm not saying you should just go out and buy a dog if you want a dog because you're 42. I'm just saying, like, why are you writing like, when I was a kid, I always wanted a dog? Okay, like, well, you're not a kid anymore. You're 42. I'm not shaming him for having childhood dreams. I mean, doesn't he have bigger problems? Hey, does he have... Listen. I don't know where this is going, so maybe I shouldn't jump in and judge yet. But like, if you want a dog, you could just get... Okay, let's read it. You're right. Let's not go in too far. It's just the first sentence. Sorry, I primed myself with... Look, he's the asshole based on the flair. Let me go in, okay? Dylan was always different than my other sons. He never had an interest in sports and was always more subdued than his brothers, which always made it hard for me to connect with him. Right? Yeah, he's not into football. It's hard for two men to connect over something that's not like a round ball trying to go through a net. He remained opposed to the idea of getting a dog, but me and my other sons managed to wear him down until he finally relented. Hey, Dylan's 11 years old. Why don't you just get a dog and then take care of it? And if he's 11, are you afraid of dogs? Sure. If he's got a dog phobia, otherwise, why don't you just buy a dog? And Dylan might be like, I'm not going to walk it. Okay. Then I'll walk it. It was my childhood dream to have a dog. I think Dylan just wants his dad to start with like a gerbil first. And then be like, hey, Dad, I know you've always wanted a dog, but let's try a gerbil for like 3 months. And if you take care of the gerbil and you still love it, then we can talk about the dog. Okay? Of course he's not going to stick with it. No 11-year-old kid is going to be like, I'm going to ignore this dog for his whole life. He's probably going to pet him like on day 2 and be like, now it's my best friend. But like the dad's got the responsibility to take care of the dog. Zeus loves Dylan and he follows him around whenever he sees him and jumps up on him to get his attention, but Dylan just isn't receptive to it. To change this, I told Dylan last week he would be in charge of walking the dog every day after school. Wake up, honey. Dumbest idiot on the earth just dropped. Psychotic moron just popped up from the ground like a little prairie dog. It's been a week and he hasn't walked the dog once. In my frustration, I told him if he didn't start listening, I wouldn't allow him to go to the comic book store anymore. He freaked out and told my wife, Dylan, you freaking narc. How dare you? My son's a damn snitch, man. He told Mom. My wife has been short with me ever since that conversation, and Dylan is cold with me as well. Alex is now agreeing with his mother, which is making me have second thoughts. So, Reddit, am I the asshole? This one is going to have some insane comments. Like, insane that are like, you're the asshole, but you should leave your family and let them get like a benevolent stepdad. There's 100% going to be comments that are like, you should let your if you can't respect your family's happiness, you should just leave them. Let's see. So obviously he's an asshole. Like there's nothing, it's cut and dry. It's not even up, like there's no gray area whatsoever. There's nothing to mine except let's see the madness that goes on in the peanut gallery. Oh my God, the bullet points, man. So, you are 3 people who want a dog and could take care of a dog, but your son who didn't want the dog has to, even though you told him he wouldn't have to. What you've taught your son. You are a liar. It's okay to not take care of your own responsibilities, and you punish him intentionally because he isn't you. Edit, thank you for the awards. I appreciate it, but please stop. This comment isn't genius or anything great. Stop! Stop with hero's not a word we use lightly. You know what? It's the firefighters that are the real Stop! Dylan, I won't interact with the dog. OP buys the dog. Dylan doesn't interact with the dog. OP? By the way, you're the asshole. Let me get this straight. Your son doesn't like sports, so it's hard for you to connect with him. He didn't want a dog, but you got one anyway, and when he didn't change his mind, you punished him. The one hobby you say he does like, comics, you want to ban him from until he shows interest in your hobby. Okay? You know what? When you put it that way, I'm starting to think this guy might be a little bit of an asshole. You're the asshole. Big time. Poor Dylan. 7 years and counting. Want to bet? What is that? Oh, until he can move out. Okay. Alex, the heir, the pride and joy with the same likes as you. Dylan, the spare, can't click with you because you do not understand him. Jake, the baby, again, someone you can click with. Holy cow, man. Dylan's situation sounds like the typical overlooked middle child. Here's my impression of middle children. This is classic middle child stuff. This reminds me so much of being a middle child. Sorry. Middle children mouthing. I'm a middle child. I'm also the oldest and the youngest. Riddle me this. He is his own person, has not to be your carbon copy to show the world your manliness, your prowess betwixt the sheets. You wore your wife down with weeks of nagging, then you set your sights on your defenseless child. He said no, you pressured him. You used your your position as an authority person to wear him down, saying yes to a dog. He warned you, your dog, not his problem. And what are you doing now? Again, stomping over him, trampling his boundaries into the dust, just because, again, he isn't a carbon copy of you? Is his own person, with his own wants and his own needs? In future years, when you browse through social media and see a post that he is engaged but he didn't tell you, when you see wedding photos for a wedding you got no invitation to, the birth, the baptism of a grandchildren you will never see, then search for this post, read it, and maybe then you will understand that no is a full sentence. But until then, the Lord of the Manor wants a dog. Lord of the Manor gets a dog after nagging, cajoling, pressuring wife and middle child into agreeing. But now the Lord is pissed that a forced yes is still a no, and again abuses his authority as a parent to pressure said child into behavior the Lord deems acceptable. There are people out there who dislike dirt. There are people out there who dislike dogs, who want a gerbil, a cat, a snake. There are people out there who are so against getting a pet since they know exactly who will have to care for them. Not the owner. No. The care will be placed onto their shoulders if they want it or not, as you are doing now. But guess what? There are people out there who know how to help themselves, to stand up for themselves. How often do you think you can force Dylan to try to bond with Zeus by walking him? To play with him? To care for him? How fast comes the day when you come home from work and get informed that Dylan walked Zeus as the Lord ordered, but sadly Zeus got away and is nowhere to be found? And all this just because you can't accept that Dylan is not you. Dylan's going to kill the dog? Edit, thank you for the Redditors for the kind awards. I finally figured out how to get a notice for them and say thank you via the chat, I hope. In case this doesn't work again, thank you. And please say a prayer for Dylan, will ya? Holy. Sanest comment on the internet just dropped? Why is it it's written like, this comment was brought to you by Peter Baelish. Lord of the Manor wanted a dog, but that didn't matter. Peter did not want one, but that didn't matter, did it, Ned? Did it? What the Lord wants, the Lord gets. And who had to look after the dog? Who had to feed it and water the dog? And find an off-leash park, because in a normal park you can't take your dog off the leash or someone might yell at you because there's kids running around. Not to mention, it wasn't until the eldest child started. Imagine reading this insane comment and then being like, you know what? Not to mention, it wasn't until the eldest child started siding with the mother and brother that OP started second-guessing himself. The words of his wife and son were not enough. This is the vibe at, like, PAX when somebody in shepherd cosplay goes up and gets a hot dog. It's my favorite hot dog on the Citadel. Yeah, that'll be $6.97 there. Did you want a side salad with that, or are you good with the fries? When someone Googles total asshole, I'm guessing your photo pops up first. You're a manipulative husband and a crappy father who doesn't like it when he can't get his own way. Well, I mean, it's a little much. Plus, I've Googled it, and that is not what comes up, by the way. Sane, it's a lot of sanity. One that's written like like an essay where every line is its own paragraph. No, okay. All right, fair enough. Nothing's ever going to compare to the second best comment for sure. Am I the asshole for begging my boyfriend not to bring Heinz Ketchup to Omakase? Sorry, I gotta know. Oh, okay, one sec. Today he told me he's only going to go if he can bring a bottle of Heinz Ketchup and put it on the table. I thought he was joking, but he was did Heston Blumenthal steal your girlfriend in high school or something? Like, what happened? Why does he have such a chip on his shoulder about fine dining? I don't understand. Did Nancy Silverton like hit you with her car? What's the issue? I told him I've literally never seen him or anyone else enjoy sushi with ketchup. He actually got mad at me saying no one gets to decide for him how he eats his food. He went on to yell at me that it's a shitty birthday gift because I'm the foodie and he isn't. I think he's being obnoxious with the ketchup thing, but maybe he's just making a point about me forcing my hobbies on him. I don't know. Am I the asshole? No, not in the slightest. You know what, though? Why don't you give him what he's always wanted? Why don't you take a trip to the Heinz Ketchup Museum in Allentown, Pennsylvania for his birthday? That's if he loves ketchup so much. Then why? Hey, if you love ketchup so much, then why don't you go to the Heinz Museum and fuck your ketchup bottle? Why don't you fuck your bong? You know what? I will fuck my bong, doggy style for once. It's from Knocked Up. Oh, okay, hold on. Info. Your boyfriend opposes fine dining. Why is that your birthday gift to him? Exactly. If I was an avid camper and my significant other hated it and always insisted on bringing ridiculous stuff and making a scene to prove a point, I would not be planning a camping trip for it. Maybe they need to have a deeper conversation about putting up with activities the other person doesn't enjoy for the sake of their relationship, or maybe they're just not compatible. Counterpoint. Why is your boyfriend so fucking weird? Also, yeah, she said her boyfriend likes sushi. So she's taking him to a nice sushi restaurant. What, is he like sushi but only if it fucking sucks? Or it's like out of a styrofoam container? I don't understand. Why would you take him to Omakase for his birthday if he isn't a foodie? Sounds like a gift for you. OP does say he likes sushi though. Okay, here we go. Person who has had sushi 2 times in their life. I feel like there's a big range of what people might mean when they say they like sushi. Like if someone likes California rolls, and all those Americanized rolls with avocados and jalapenos, they could say they like sushi. Is it traditional Japanese sushi? No, but it's still a type of sushi. Or maybe they like sushi boats where you pick little dishes off of a conveyor belt. Omakase is a pretty specific type of sushi served in a specific way according to Wikipedia. Speaking as someone who does like a good omakase, I can see how someone who claims to like sushi might not necessarily like omakase. Hey, thanks for the birthday gift, girlfriend, but this isn't exactly the kind of sushi that I like, and I'm an adult man, which means apparently I don't know how to have a conversation. Instead, I have to just escalate the bit like it's some kind of improv sketch. It actually is pretty reasonable for an adult man to throw a temper tantrum because he said he likes sushi and you take him to nice sushi instead of cheap sushi. What's wrong with you? I find it hard to believe OP wouldn't know this would be how the plan would go, so why even bother? Take him to McDonald's, he'd probably be happier. You gotta break up with your boyfriend if he says, like, take me to McDonald's for my birthday. He's a grown man. I ate McDonald's 2 times this week, but you gotta, like, there's a time and a place, man. Boyfriend needs to get a life. Bro, your girlfriend's taking you out for nice sushi. Why don't you just eat the sushi? I don't understand. Just... like so many of these posts, I'm like, why? You're going to run into enough bumps in your life without getting in your own way, you know? It's your birthday. Your girlfriend says, I want to take you out for a nice meal. Okay, go out for a nice meal and eat it. Like, I don't understand. Or have a conversation and be like, hey, I appreciate that you were thinking of me, and I do like sushi, but only the gas station kind. At the same time, could you instead take that money and buy me a yearly subscription to Maxim magazine or something like that? I just don't understand, like, why you, or yeah, like 7 pairs of shoes from Winners or TJ Maxx. Like, I don't understand the problem. Like, why you gotta be, you Ketchup of the Month Club. Sure, even better. I also think the fact that he doesn't like eating out, I don't buy it. Everybody likes eating at restaurants. It's like a universal truth. Who doesn't like eating good food? Not me. What if someone else is paying? I don't. Yeah, but this guy's in a relationship. That's like a lot of being in a relationship is just like 2 people going to a restaurant with each other, you know? If he doesn't like going to restaurants, maybe he should just stay single for the rest of his life. That's like at least 30% of the damn deal. The nuclear take. Take him to an all-you-can-eat sushi buffet. Listen, okay? It's a little snobby. It's a little judgmental. You two adults. She has the means, apparently, to at least, with some budgeting, afford the nice sushi meal. Take him to an all-you-can-eat sushi buffet is where you take, like, a 12-year-old or a 55-year-old for their birthday. It's not where two people in like a romantic relationship with each other go in their mid-20s. That's when you go to a nice place before you got to get in the night. By the way, yo, Aaron, thank you. Appreciate the gifted subscriptions. That's when you go to the nice places, and then later, if you choose, you have a kid, and you're like, man, I'm really glad I went to all those nice places because now I can only go to restaurants that have a lot of parking, a lot of seating, high chairs available, French fries and quesadillas on the menu for like the next 12 years. That's my life, right? Just enjoy the experience. It's not gonna last forever. Yeah, as you start eating all your family dinners at the damn old spaghetti factory, man. Also, you don't bring someone to restaurants you want to go to for their birthday. You go to their favorite. Yeah, but he's 10. I don't know. I'm sorry. Listen, I think in principle, yes. But in practice, grow up. You can't just go to a great restaurant for your birthday. It has to be your favorite restaurant. Like, how old are you? It's like how the 6-year-old who got hit with the spray bottle reacted. I know it's your special day. I just get one day. I just get one special day. Can't I? Well, then offer the suggestion. Don't just threaten the ketchup, the football. You know, you got to turn two keys. And at the same time, and a Heinz bottle pops out and ruins your relationship. Like, just relax. Why don't you just be like, I don't want to go to the sushi restaurant? Doesn't make any damn sense. She'll be like, fine, where do you want to go? And he'll suggest a place that has 5 out of 10 food, but like 92 beers on tap. She'll be like, okay, fine, for one night. For one night, I'll get rigatoni bolognese at a pub for you because it's your favorite restaurant because you're a little kid. That's the spirit of a relationship, okay? He needs to learn how to compromise. Yes, even on his birthday. Or, I don't know, maybe he could take the sauce. Am I the asshole for refusing to... I got a lot of -2s on that. It's like the most -2s I've ever gotten. And I'm living for it. I wear those -2s proudly. Am I the asshole for refusing to pay to fix the baby? Plus, you know that he'd be like, well, as soon as he sat down for the omakase, he'd be like, you got any sushi that isn't too fishy? Don't even get me... I don't want to be on the right side of history in that one. Am I the asshole for refusing to pay to fix the babysitter's laptop? I, single mom of 2, hired a babysitter after I started working a new job. Used to do work. Hey, am I the asshole for telling my pregnant wife to stop acting like a child? The post is written like a comment, and I love it. It's written like every paragraph is one sentence. But I can't get a new job right now due to personal reasons, but I plan to as soon as possible. Listen, throw away to protect my privacy. Here's my life story, but some things are too personal even for Reddit, okay? I don't want to tell you why I can't get another job, but I plan to as soon as possible. My wife quit her job right after we found out we were expecting. We'd always planned this. Problem is, she's gotten really lazy. Oh, no, 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 no. No, no. Oh. She's been whining and complaining constantly since the moment she took the test. She sounds like a child. I hungry, I sore. I hungry, I sore. My head hurts, I'm sick, I can't shit, etc. I understood these things are normal during pregnancy, so as much as it annoyed me, I bit my tongue. Yo, hold up, brother, she's saying I hungry? Can I info? I have many questions I want to ask. I yelled at her and told her I had the worst day. She needs to stop complaining and be an adult for once. So she started crying. I immediately apologized over and over, but she left anyway. A couple of hours later, my mother-in-law called me and called me a misogynistic what? And a slew of other names. I hung up because I don't need that. Now the beans are spilled and all the women in my family are mad at me and my wife still won't speak to me. So am I the asshole? Well, like, here's the thing. Okay, careful, Ned. I don't subscribe 100% to the idea that a pregnant woman is above criticism. She can be pregnant, eye sore, eye hungry, hormonal, and still be an asshole to you, whether it's understandable given the circumstances or even beyond. You know, it could be not understandable because she could just be like having it out for you. That being said, the start of the post where you said she's gotten really late. I mean, here, can I ask you a question? Your wife, as soon as she got a positive pregnancy test, she quit her job. That was your plan the whole time. What the hell do you want her to do? Of course she's going to be lazy. A, she's pregnant. So, like, you basically said her job is growing the baby. And, like, B, maybe there is no B. You basically told her, like, just rest. You need 9 months or, 8 months from the positive test to focus on yourself. And then it's like, she's bringing you complaints the way that it seems like you asked for. And then you're going, what the hell? I'm sore. Which is true. I understand. It's like, I don't know. I'm being honest with you. For me, this is an everybody sucks here. The Lord of the Manor needs a clean house. The Lord of the Manor says the DoorDash fees are too freaking high. Look, I was not pregnant. I've only even observed one pregnancy, unless you count me being born, I suppose. Which I observed, but thankfully has been wiped from my memory. There's some parts of it that suck really bad. First trimester, Kate had horrible motion sickness, or not motion sickness, morning sickness. And also for like 3 months was like, please don't eat anything. The smell of what you're eating makes me want to throw up. And also don't come near me because the smell of you makes me want to throw up. And I was like, okay, honey, I love you. I'll be down here in my office, I guess. And then the second trimester was like the Garden of Eden. Everything was fine. You start doing stuff to prepare for like the baby. You're like building a family unit. And then the third trimester is just a lot of like, I wish this baby would get out of me. I wish this baby would get out of me. Like combined with like the Ridley Scott H.R. Geiger type stuff where she'll be like, check this out. And she like, show me your stomach. And there's like a foot going like. So I can understand like why she's hungry and sore. Uh-oh. Does it hurt a lot? I don't know. I was mostly just putting on like 25 pounds of sympathy weight out of pure laziness for the most. I'm playing a lot of Fall Guys. It's pretty much there's not much else. When you do everything, there's nothing else to do after that. You're just sort of chilling, waiting for the baby to show up. Anyway, well, yeah, I mean, I don't even know what else. They're both like bad here. They're both bad. I mean, I'm not saying he's bad because he doesn't wait on his wife's every need. Like, he's his own person as well. He's got to like work harder than usual right now, but there's still a limit. Like, if he's had a hard day, I mean, honestly, it's very reasonable. You come back from a 10-hour workday and she's like, cook some food for me. And he's like, can we just DoorDash tonight? And she's like, no, I have to eat home-cooked food. Well, then fucking cook some food, lady. Sorry. But like, every human being has their limits. You just give him, can you wait? Like, can you have a snack and wait like a couple hours? He'll have a bath and decompress a little bit and then he can make some food. He's still a human being as well, but he should not call his pregnant wife lazy. Even if it is true. That's too far. You can't win that argument. Like, it's like calling a little kid like an asshole. Like, you can think it, and in private you could be like that kid who pushed my daughter at the park and she fell down. In my head, I'm like, that kid's a fucking dickhead. But he's 3. You can't be the guy in the park and be like, this asshole pushed my kid. You've already lost the argument as soon as it starts. And in my head, I'm also like, it's probably just that his mother is the dickhead and the kid is just like an extension right now. Anyway, sorry. All right, let's see. This one, there's some conversations to be had here. There's some controversy. Everybody sucks here. I lived with chronic pain and I've been pregnant. So my opinion is above criticism. It sounds like neither one of you want to be supportive. It's more of a competition of who has it worse. I don't totally agree with this comment, but I do think it's fairly reasonable. I don't think that at least in this post, I don't think he's saying I have it harder than her. I think he just wanted to take a damn bath. Wait, but then why? Hold on. What did he say to her again? Oh, yeah. He told her to stop being a child, be an adult for once. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, look, you're an asshole for snapping, but it happens to everybody. He lashed out. He was in an emotional, stressed out moment. He lashed out. I'm not excusing it. I'm simply saying, he's in chronic pain but has no choice but to work a 10-hour shift and then come home and to cook and clean. In those 10 hours, she can't pull up a chair, do some dishes, throw pasta in a pot, throw some clothes in a machine. Maybe scrub the floors a little bit. Maybe do the taxes. Maybe dust, do a little dusting. Maybe she could take some of those heavy boxes down to the garage. Sorry. Do the responsible thing. Do the adult thing. Boring! Not the asshole. I'm going to try to say this as gently as possible. It doesn't sound like you two should be having a kid. All right. That's a problem, Ocean Spice. That's the kind of... You don't really have to type that at this point. They're in the 3rd trimester. It's kind of in it for the long haul at this point. Not the asshole. I don't understand why anyone would quit their job when they find out they're pregnant unless she's on doctor's ordered bed rest. This is a bad plan. She should be saving her paycheck for everything the baby will need. Kind of a hot take. I sort of agree. Although, listen, I'm a man. I shouldn't be saying this stuff. I think you could work in the 2nd trimester. Even the first trimester, if we stopped people from working during the 1st trimester, we'd lose all those great sitcom moments where a lady's at work and she throws up, and then her coworker, who's like a little snarky, but everyone loves her, even though she drinks a little too much, would be like, you might be pregnant. And then she'd be like, no, that's not. And then she thinks back to when her and Mr. Sheffield, the plane was going to crash, and then they... And then she's like, my God, maybe I am pregnant. And we can't lose those moments. Those are the hallmarks of Western media. What are you talking about? Listen, I also read a post on r/shit mom group say last night that made me laugh, where a woman said that her and her husband both quit their job because their kid was teething. And I was like, what the hell? They're like, our kid has really been having a hard time with teething, so my husband and I both quit our jobs. I was like, teething's not easy, but can I tell you, that is not... If you were looking at like a graph of even only with like a 2-year-old right now, the hardest parts of being a 2-year-old, teething doesn't even register. You wouldn't even get like a push alert on your phone on that day. Good for them. Well, but then in their post, they were like, we were thinking about starting a restaurant or a cafe or something like that so we have more time. And I was like, oh no, they're stupid. Haven't you ever seen Kitchen Nightmares? It's been a pretty spicy react court today, though. Am I the asshole for lying about a food allergy? Oh no, they're vegan. If they're a 9-year-old vegan woman, Reddit's going to eviscerate them, man. The Reddit hierarchy of shit rolling downhill is like, it's got to be like, old, maybe vegan, teenagers, landlord. I don't know. But am I the asshole? I don't know. Am I the asshole? People really respect homeowners. They're big about like, it's your home. You are the king of the castle. You're the lord of the fief. You make the rules. For lying about a food allergy. I'm vegan, have been for over 5 years. I'm lucky to live in a major city. Okay, Reddit is like, they're gearing up for one of these. Lives in a major city, vegan for 5 years. Let me guess, good job, 2 supportive parents. Check one of those. For my sister's dinner, I told the chef I have life-threatening food allergies to meat, proteins, dairy, and egg. They were like, sure you do. Why don't you just say you're vegan? Because not the asshole in some ways. Listen, you should never lie sometimes. Everybody knows this. Rather than lie to the restaurant, they could have been like, I'm just not going to have a meal at the rehearsal. I'm just going to have wine. Or I'm going to eat before. Or maybe I'm going to bring like a vegan protein bar in my pocket or something like that, right? It's not a huge deal. That would have been the right way to solve it. That being said, I can also see why she would lie about it since her trust was betrayed a couple of times. Couldn't she have just lied and said she gets like horrendous early onset like diarrhea or something like that? Shouldn't have to say it's lethal. Like that puts a lot of onus on the restaurant. She couldn't be like, if I eat any of these things, I will instantly poop my pants in your expensive booths. Then they probably would have they wouldn't have done the cleaning maybe, but they would have respected their dietary concerns, I think. But I don't think she's an asshole in this situation, especially because she paid for the extra cleaning. Like most people, at least on Reddit, it would have been like, my parents paid for it. I told them, I don't think it's my fault that they paid for it when I would never have paid for it if the restaurant had asked me to do that. You know, like is this really, this can't be like a common practice, right? That, oh, sure, you want to have some plain pasta at the restaurant? That's no problem. That'll just be the cost of the pasta. It's around $23, and also $400 for the cleaning fee. Like that, I don't think that makes any sense. That doesn't pass the sus detection, but she paid it anyway. I think they handled it well. So I would like to say, not the asshole. Apparently they're the asshole, though, because on Reddit, we don't like vegans, for one. And then nobody should ever, under any circumstances, lie. Unless the old ball and chain asks you if her ass looks fat in that dress. In which case you say, of course you, no, it would never. Okay. Let's see. Let's see if the prediction is right here. You're the asshole. Hi, someone with, oh, here we go. Someone with the moral high ground. Hi, someone with an actual food allergy, lactose and potentially gluten. Please don't use unconditioned that canon is life-threatening to make your life easier. Also, their job 10x harder. Holy crap, this is my most liked comment. Yay. Edit 2. My allergies are not life-threatening, but they are a pain in the assets. Hi, someone with 1 point question mark food allergies here. Please don't pretend to have food allergies that are life-threatening. Mine aren't, but some people's are. Thanks for the Reddit comment. 100% this. Proud 20-year vegan here. And the parent of a child with life-threatening butt allergies. What? Excuse me? Your child has a life-threatening butt allergy? I don't understand. Oh, no! Oh, man. You're the asshole, and this really got me. Personally, I think that if this restaurant is going to continue with their ignorance and inconsideration, they got what they deserved. This sort of attitude is what makes many people hate vegans. Okay, I mean, that's also not unfair. I'm sorry to say. I don't hate vegans at all. And as someone who it was 12 years ago, I was a vegetarian myself for like 6 months. Malf and I did it because we both bet each other that we couldn't. And then I was introduced to a lot of great cuisine as a result. To this day, I would eat less meat if we could get the whole household on the same page there. Also with the baby sometimes, it's just beef. Beef and chicken are kind of like a wonder food when you're actually like growing. Like one little piece of meat, it's got lots of vitamins and minerals. Anyway, the point is, that's not the point. When I was a vegetarian, I realized it's actually like really annoying. Because sometimes you'll just be like minding your own business. You'll like go to a barbecue, you'll bring a salad. People will be like, why do you have that salad? You'd be like, oh, I'm a vegetarian. Then they would get on your ass because they have a preconceived notion that you get on their ass. They would almost be like threatened by your dietary choice. Like you think you're better than them or something, and you're like, I'm really just trying to like eat my salad. Does this make you jealous? Nom 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 nom. Oh, look, the steak is so juicy. Nom 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 nom. Like when you actually don't care. So I think people have this idea sometimes that like all vegetarians and vegans have a position of moral superiority and like turn up their nose at people who eat meat. When I think in reality, that's a very small percentage of people like that, especially as it's kind of grown as a habit. Most of the people are just like normal people who want to You know, they just make their own dietary choices for whatever reason, environmental, health, or ethical, or whatever, and then they just want to be like kind of like left alone without having people be like, you know, well, you're gonna get a garden salad. I'm gonna order 2 steaks just to make. Okay, well then fucking fine. Who cares? I don't know. Die of heart disease. I don't care. Like I actually don't care. I'm just here to eat something. Owned. I'm so owned. Clogging my arteries to own you because you're eating a salad. It doesn't make any sense. It's very weird. Anti-vegan rhetoric is a very cringe like 2010s era bit. Maybe even late 2000s. You're the asshole. People like you are why people with real life-threatening food allergies aren't taken seriously. Is that true, or do you just want them to feel bad? Because that doesn't seem right. It seems like they took her food allergy seriously. I don't read anything in her posts that is like an indication that they're not going to take it seriously next time, especially if they get paid like a few $100 extra to clean their kitchen. Who doesn't take life-threatening allergies seriously? I don't even want to go here, okay? But there are people. Like people, I hate, and a lot of stand-up comedians have a joke like this. That's like, you know, I was on an airplane and I was eating a peanut butter sandwich and the stewardess came over and told me that I can't eat peanut butter because someone on the plane has a nut allergy. And I said, well, that's too bad for them. If, you know, something, if your genes are this bad, maybe you shouldn't even, like just telling people that like their kids should be dead because they can't eat peanuts, meanwhile being like 40 pounds overweight themselves. Like it's just a bit of a double standard. For a long time, I've been like, I may enjoy the rest of the special, but that bit itself is like, to me, it's kind of a bad look. That you're like, I should be allowed to eat peanut butter wherever I want, even if it does kill somebody's kid. So I think people do take food allergies seriously, but maybe even still not as seriously as they could. Like we actually had a situation at our daycare where we got a text from one of the parents because we brought in like cookies one day. And then the parent was like, hey, can you send me a screenshot of like the ingredient list of those cookies? We need to see if they have hazelnuts or walnuts in them. Luckily they didn't, but it was like a nice wake up call because I was like, man, I didn't even think about that. Like I didn't even think about looking at the ingredient list before I was just like, we're doing a nice thing sending cookies to the daycare. Now I'm like, I'm sending fucking nothing. Nobody's getting anything nice anymore. And that's fair. They would probably rather not get anything nice than be killed by a food allergy. But peanuts, I'm like, oh, we got to watch out for peanuts. I didn't even think about the hazelnuts and the walnuts and the almonds and the so-ons and the so forth. But anyway, you could have just asked for a garden salad with the dressing on the side. Jesus Christ, you give us vegans and vegetarians a bad name. It's not that bad. Well, okay, maybe. But they tried to do that a couple of times at the restaurant, and the restaurant didn't respect their dietary concerns. They put butter on it or like Parmesan cheese or something like that. So that's why she thought she had to go to the next level. I mean, I don't think they'd really... Soft, you're the asshole. Soft, you're the asshole, okay? It's like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. Larry's dating someone way out of his league. Let's say... Cameron Diaz returns to acting. On their date, Cameron Diaz says, oh, I love that place. But like Larry's like, why don't we go to Aritzia? And then Cameron Diaz is like, oh, I love that place, but I can't go back. Ever since I turned vegan, they have animal products in all their food, even when I ask for them to not have any animal products. Larry goes, why don't you just lie and tell them that if you eat any butter, it'll kill you? And then, Cameron, hi. Don't talk to me, Larry. What did I do? You know your little bright idea with telling them I'm deathly allergic to butter? Well, they had to close down the restaurant because they had to do 3 hours of deep cleaning, and then they put it on my bill at the end. Cameron, how could I have known that? That's not like a season 4 golden age curve bit. Fuck you, Larry. But that's like a season 12. That could be a season 12. Fuck you, you bald prick. And hey, Larry, don't call me. So, anyway, scrolling. Just coming down from that one for a second. I'm just scrolling. Am I the asshole for asking my husband's friend if he was going to bring his wife's ashes when he moves in with us? What the hell is... What? guess I shouldn't laugh, but it's a very bold statement. My husband's friend lost his wife 4 months ago. He had cremated and used to keep her ashes in their home. He unfortunately had to lose his home to medical debts and asked me and my husband to let him move in with us and stay for a few weeks till he figures it out. I'd like to go back to the homepage now. I'm not having any fun. I'm not of fan cremation, but obviously I can't control how others choose to honor their deceased loved ones as much as I would like to. But still, seeing ashes or being around them gives off weird vibes that I cannot control. We had an argument and he called me cruel and reckless to speak to his friend the way I did. He said I should never have brought it up. He told me to get over myself and not expect his friend to part with his wife just because I'm uncomfortable. We argued some more and he told me to apologize next time I see his friend for the disrespect I displayed, but in my opinion, he made a big deal out of a question. Yeah, you're the asshole. This feels like another Curb Your Enthusiasm bit, honestly. You gonna bring the ashes? Yes, Larry. I'm gonna bring the ashes. You know that's my wife. I'm picturing like an Albert Brooks type maybe in that role, playing himself. Dude, honestly, my mom was talking to me when she was here. She was like, I felt bad because she was like, she thought it was a great idea. And maybe it is. Maybe I have no vision. But she was saying, instead of being cremated these days, a lot of people are choosing to, and I don't know what the word is. I think she called it wet cremation, where they basically just kind of get put in like a sous vide until they get sort of like all their all their flesh gets aquamated. That's it. You get put in like a warm bath and sous vide'd until like all of your flesh disintegrates, and then they just sort of like grind up your bones. And she was like, it's great because there's like less emissions from like the cremator and stuff like that. And I swear to you that what I said was, I don't care about the emissions from the cremator because I'm dead. That's like even in death, I can't be a little laissez-faire about my carbon footprint. Like, people are driving gas cars, they're taking huge road trips. You're going to guilt trip me for being cremated once? It's not going to be cremated, like, I'm not going to make a habit of it. What percentage of a person's lifetime CO2 emissions come from cremation? It's got to be like one millionth probably. Plus, I'm dead. Like, isn't that like the greatest deal of all time? I emit a little carbon dioxide and then no more ever again? It's insanely good for the environment. Now, my personal belief is like, also, I didn't use the incinerator. The person running the incinerator used it. All I did was die. I'm not going to take responsibility for the pollution from the incinerator. They're the one who shoveled all the coal into it or whatever. I just had the audacity to die in their jurisdiction. Regardless, I'm not really that fussed about what happens to my body after I die. But like, if you're giving me the choice between cremation or being slow boiled in an aluminum vat, I really would choose the cremation. I'm gonna be a little stick, because I don't know, it was just in my head. Like, in the furnace, I'm already dead. I'm sitting there and it's kind of like a Viking funeral, right? And then I'm like turning into ash. But like me, like my body, like slow boiling, and like my skin slowly like sloughing off and stuff like that, and like my eyeballs falling out. I'm like, what if they didn't hinge the door properly and it like opens up, and then I kind of like, I'm half soupy and I spill out of the front door or something like that? Just put me in the, you could do like a pizza at the same time or something. You could put me next to the pizza. You could do some batch tasking, but like, don't put me in the slow boiler, man. I don't want it. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm old fashioned, but it's just like a little gross. You don't have to bury me. I'm not worried about that. I don't think I'm ever busting out of the casket or whatever, but like, I don't want to be sous vide'd and reverse seared, okay? It's just, I'm pretty open-minded, but that one's just, you can do it. It doesn't bother me that it's being done. I just personally don't want it done to myself. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. No, obviously this person is insane. It's not like he's not going to spread the ashes like all over your house. It's just going to sit in like an urn on the fireplace mantle until Jigsy, and knocks it over. And then is that from Meet the Parents? That is from Meet the Parents, right? Kitchen Nightmares episode where a restaurant has a side hustle grinding up bones in the back. So true, Chib. Is it Gordon? What in the hell is that? All right, listen. Sous vide human. Lovely breakfast. Simple, delicious, fucking fantastic. I love the way he talks when he's actually doing recipes. Simple, elegant, light, airy, crispy. Perfect. Perfect for a family breakfast. Rustic. He's always twisting. Rustic. Gordon Ramsay discovering the human sous vide. What? How long has it been in there? He's sticking his finger in his body and it's going like, it's fucking goop. You donkey. It's disgusting. He's licking it. Oh, it tastes as bad as it looks. Am I the asshole for telling my sister I didn't appreciate her leaving her baby with us when we were about to leave to go to the bathroom? I can't even understand what the fuck you're saying. What? There's like 27 commas in the sentence that change the meaning depending on how you interpret them. Who's going to the bathroom? You or the baby or the sister? Am I the asshole for telling my sister I didn't appreciate her leaving her baby with us when we were about to leave to go to the bathroom? When we were about to leave to go to the bathroom, one of my cousin's kids turned 1. So a few days ago, they had a birthday party and invited friends and family. I'm like, oh shit, is this about us? Are they changing the name? But they've changed the names. It couldn't possibly be us. Me and my husband, Alex, were also about to leave when Sarah came up to me and asked if I could keep an eye on my niece for a few minutes while she ran to the bathroom. Now, I want to add, I don't have an issue with this specifically. An award for Selfless Citizen of the Year goes to... I don't have a problem with looking after my niece for 2 minutes so my sister can take a dump. My problem was that she saw we were about to go, yet she left without waiting for our answer. Yeah, because if you said no, she's going to have to hold in her dookie for like 2 hours. Why don't you just delay going for... It's just got to run to the bathroom real quick. Let me keep reading. After she came back, I told her I didn't really appreciate her leaving like that without even waiting for an answer. I said there were still a few other people around she could have asked who weren't leaving. You're her sister, though. Like, it's the way obligation flows. It flows from closest relationship to closest relationship. Wouldn't ask like your co-worker's husband to look after your kid for like a minute. Sarah replied she didn't really think it through and saw me, so she came to me. This isn't the first time Sarah's pulled things like this, not with me particularly. Then why are you bringing it up? This isn't the first time my sister's been completely normal. Not with me, but with our parents, who bend over backwards to do favors for her. This sounds exactly like a middle child situation. I do understand the situation and her circumstances. You understand? I'm sorry to get so stomached. You understand that people have to go to the bathroom on occasion? I do understand the situation and her circumstances now with an infant, but there's a limit, man. And the limit is 0. Because of 1, I'm going to kick up a damn fuss. I get it, but maybe she should think things through for once. She started crying and said she's very overwhelmed. We ended up leaving after that, and I do feel kind of bad for what I said to her, but I don't think it warranted crying. Alex agrees with me that Sarah was overreacting a little bit, so am I the asshole? Oh, wow. You're crazy. You do not like your sister. This is turning me into a Redditor. It's literally like the biggest not a deal of all time. Hey, honey, you want to leave the party? Yeah, sure. Let me just talk to my sister for a second. Hey, I gotta take a number 1. Can you look after your niece for 45 seconds? This is what happens when you get a socially maladjusted loner with a society who just shits on them over and over. Like, nothing happened. You just got to look after a kid for less than the length of time of a Guided by Voices song. It's nothing. Find God. You're the asshole. It took longer for you to write this out than it did to just wait for her to pee. Yes, that's correct. I understand you two aren't close and it's not her fault. You sound cold and jealous. Yes, this. I got that jealous and bitter vibe from this post too. Look, listen. You don't need. Well, excuse me. Maybe you do need. Edit. I read from your comment that your sister's husband passed away while she was pregnant and you were bitter her parents were helping her through her grief. You were salty because your mom canceled your lunch date because her grief therapy was rescheduled. I now believe that this is a fictional post. I now believe that this is a fictional post. I believe that this was a creative writing assignment designed to create the worst person in the world. One of the dumbest legal minds I've ever known. Am I the asshole for getting upset because my wife wants 2 days off a week? When we had our first child, my wife decided to take a part-time job at her workplace. We had extensive conversations and had agreed that 2 days off a week would be beneficial for getting things done, otherwise we would struggle. We both work 8 to 4. Okay, it's very reasonable. Except, okay, part-time, wait, that's 8 to 4? Man, it's like a 40-hour, but look, that's pretty close to full-time. I would classify her as full-time. What would I say is full-time work? I would say anything over 9 a.m. Anything over 9:01 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday. That would be full-time and should be considered equivalent to any other full-time job in terms of output and merit, personally. Yeah, I would say as long as you're over like 24 hours and 55 minutes a week, of course, we're not counting federal holidays, like, for example, a Thanksgiving in that. So I would say, she's full. I would say she's working time and a half, honestly, quite frankly. I told her that much, and I feel I'm very polite in what I said. I did reference household chores like laundry, dishes, vacuuming, and whatnot. It was not to be misogynistic, but our family does happen to follow the stereotypical archaic family structure where we have a partially stay-at-home mom and me working full-time plus overtime occasionally. As your PR representative, before you put this one out there, I'm going to advise you to just put a strike through the last couple of sentences there. I don't believe that this person is a misogynist, that nothing about what they're saying is misogynistic, as far as I can tell. But just the way that they wrote, I don't mean this misogynistically, but we do happen to embody the lifestyle from a very misogynistic time, it makes your case a little weaker. It invites the appearance of you to be a misogynist, which is not necessary given the content of the post so far. Anytime you say, I'm not this, but you may not be that, you have to see what comes after the next part of the sentence. But people are predisposed to think that everything that comes after the but nullifies the thing that you said first. Like, I'm not a serial killer, but I do enjoy watching Ted Bundy documentaries. I'm not a serial killer. The thing that came after it doesn't make me a serial killer, but people are like, oh shit, investigate him. I just like it because I'm not going to say because he's such a hottie. Have I done the bit yet where in every Ted Bundy documentary, they're like, a disarmingly handsome man asked me if I could help him with his bag. And then they show a photo of Ted Bundy and he's like, just had a certain animal magnetism. He wasn't like other serial killers. Like he was approachable. He was nice. He was a hottie. Sorry. The climax of this argument was my wife getting irate and telling me that I couldn't tell her what she could do on her days off. I reminded her they were not days off, but rather an agreement where she works part-time but gets our family tasks done. What? Wait, this is... So now, like, all right, listen. Why do you think you got so much control over your wife's time? Like, I can understand where he's coming from. He's like, my wife's been on maternity leave, so there's like a reason that things are kind of in disarray right now. It's a lot of work to raise kids. You know, money's tight. We're going back to a previous arrangement before. But why? I just don't understand why he thinks that he's in control of his wife's free time. That he's like, yeah, you can take as many days off as you want as long as you clean the entire house the whole time. He might not be a misogynist. He might just hate his wife. There's nothing in here that says he hates all women. He might just hate the one that he chose to spend the rest of his life with and have 2 kids with. We got to give him the benefit of the doubt, okay? No, that's even too far, but it looks like I'm the asshole. I need to reevaluate priorities and apologize to my wife. I appreciate the feedback. Edit 2, apparently I don't articulate myself well. She works Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. She has Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. 4 days off, I guess, but we work on things together on the weekend, which is why I said 2. This guy really the kind of motherfucker to be like, it wasn't a real day off because I did the dishes. What the hell are you talking about? Welcome to being an adult and having some kids, you know, especially. It's Sunday. Put on your work boots. You're doing family work today. It's still labor in many ways. You're just not wearing a uniform unless you're tucking your jeans into your New Balances like I do. I'm not a part-time dad. I do every chore she does, just as she does every chore I do. This sounds like you're doing twice as many chores as is necessary. We work together and have a great marriage. This was just a disagreement. I wasn't trying to divorce her or murder her for the decision. Not everything is a major thing. Well, you're the one who made the posts, Poindexter. Nobody broke into your house and posted on Reddit under a throwaway. So here's what I'll say first. We start out reasonable and get brought to the extremes by the comments. I'm not saying he has a point. But, well, no, I don't really have I'm not saying he has a point at all. Because, like, what I was going to say is, you don't really get to have as many, it's hard to have, after you've made the adult decision to have kids, you don't get to necessarily have as many pre-planned 100% don't get inside of my leisure bubble days off. You can plan it as much as you want. Things come up. Sometimes you need help. Sometimes you need to, hey, can you watch her for 2 minutes while I go to the bathroom, sister? You know, et cetera, et cetera. But it doesn't seem like she's doing this at all. It seems like her husband is mad that the house isn't like perfectly tidy. And then she's like, I'm going to volunteer at our son's school. And then he's like, but when are you going to have time to vacuum? Like, that seems like an argument that you can't win, unless I'm misreading the post. Or I guess he's also saying, if you have this kind of time to volunteer, you could also be working more, which is a fair statement. I just don't know why it's also filtered through our house is a little bit dirty. Like, it's just weird, right? Like, I think it's fair that if they have money problems, he's like, I would rather you work more than volunteer. But regardless, all I'm trying to say is that it seems like he's like, I'm busting my ass at work. And sure, maybe he works at like the fire factory where he's got to grab fire out of a raging inferno with his bare hands. And like, I don't know what he does. But she's on mat leave with 2 kids. She's probably also working herself to the damn bone. So he probably comes home and is like, why isn't the house clean? I was at work all day. And he probably comes home and she's like, why don't you have a damn better job that gives you more time off? Why didn't you apply yourself more in your younger years when you had more energy, and then you could have had more flexibility at work? It could be helping me out at home right now. Like, they're both probably putting in good effort, is what I'm trying to say. So the argument that's like, you know, well, I was working when you were just at home looking after the kids, is like, you're not gonna get too far with that, I think. I don't know, or maybe she just sucks. It's possible. There is a caveat. She might just be like a little lazy, but I don't assume that about her. That's what her husband's saying, which is pretty rude. You're the asshole. Kids don't raise themselves. Your wife's getting involved with their schooling in the parenting community. She's not having bottomless mimosas during this time. How do you know? Do you have like a nanny cam? You don't. Maybe now and then. Maybe 1 day a week. Maybe it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Glass of white Zinfandel at 11 a.m. Kids are down for nap time. Listen, your kids are small. One day they'll be grown. Do you think they'll remember whether the floor was vacuumed and the windows were washed? Or do you think they'll remember their mom was there for them? Some of my best times were volunteering at my kids' schools, and they'd tell you the same. Don't take that away from your wife and kids. If you can, try to carve more time for yourself to be there for them too. You won't regret it. Even if the baseboards are dirty, they'll remember that you showed up. So true. Jesus, you didn't have to go write for my emotions, lol. It's him. Well spoken. Thank you for taking the time to write that. It's an awesome perspective. I'd never considered that before. I might be focusing on the wrong aspects of my life. I'll go for the sucker punch then. All right. Here we go. You have two types of currency to manage, the monetary and the emotional. Please take care to balance them. Now, obviously, you have to work and cover the bills and stuff, but in my experience, fathers, they lose sight of what they're working for. They work and work and work to give their kids everything and the best, and that's not flawed, but I promise sometimes you can do the best without everything. From my personal experiences, we had a great childhood. Big Christmases, family trips to Disney a couple times, cables. The first house on the block with a dedicated landline for the internet. We had a lot. Know what we didn't have? My dad home much at all. We could have gone with less. You're absolutely right. You could have gone with less to have more. If your father had been less successful at his job, you would have gotten the internet later, and then you wouldn't be here making this crazy 500-word essay when the guy apologized. He already apologized. Edit, thank you for the awards. I actually just talked to my dad, and I told him about this post. Sanest Redditor just dropped. Hey, Dad, I just wanted to tell you about a post I made on Reddit this morning. Oh, really, son? That's cool. He was working under the wrong devotion. And at the time, he thought he was making the best choices, but looking back, he sees a lot of regrets and missed chances of opportunities. He sees all the things that didn't see as important then and wishes he'd done things differently and made more time for the things that mattered, such as being home with the kids. We also both teared up over some of the memories mentioned here. So his, with a capital H, is God. Your father is God. This message is from Jesus Christ himself. I had no idea. I take back all that fucked up shit I said about you getting the internet too early. Don't be him, waiting until he's... Don't be like my dad, waiting until he's retired and looking back and wishing you could do it all over the right way. Listen. True, but also, like, people gotta fucking... Like, they gotta work. Like, I don't mean... You could all... Okay, like, pull it back a little. Like, this is seeing, like... You never get that time back when your kid is little. So make the most of it. Yeah, but like you can still also like work. I mean, I'm in a different situation because I have so much flexibility. But I'm just like I just think that it's maybe they're going a little bit too far to the extreme. This is, hey, when you're home at nights and on the weekends, be active in your child's life. Don't be looking at your phone going, "That's great, honey." Of course, but you don't have to, like, I don't know, move down to part-time work to spend more time with your child just so, like, I think you're going to have that quality time in a normal balance as well. I saved this to read to my husband in the morning. Him working so much has been an issue of contention for the past several years. I'm going to pour one out for this guy's husband, or for this person's husband, because I think I would. Can you imagine you have a child with someone, and then you wake up in the morning, you're like 5.5 hours of sleep, you're stressed out, I got all this shit to do today. Honey, I just want to read you something real quick. It's a 1,500-word essay from Reddit about how you're a bad father. No, you know what? They make some good points. I'll think about that. This is a sad story, man. I'm putting myself in there. I don't even know if this person is real, and I'm putting myself in their shoes, and I'm sad. Good luck. All of this is emotional to read just as a bystander. What the fuck are you talking about? As an empath, this stuff is hard to read. No, it's not. I'm sorry. I'm hitting like empathy fatigue on these posts. What do you mean? If this is now because you're turning me into a boomer. If this shit is hard to read, get ready to go through life closing your damn eyes, man. This is just like a relatively normal situation. I mean, not typical, but like pretty common. Like, I'm sorry, you gotta grow like a bit of a damn spine, okay? It doesn't have to be made out of adamantium. You gotta be able to at least read a secondhand story of a dad spending a little too little time with his kid without it withering you to the damn core.